Welcome to Restore, a ministry dedicated to providing healing and restoration for individuals hurt by the church while standing against human trafficking. I'm Mama T, and I invite you to join me as we explore stories, share resources, and work toward a future of hope and healing. You went looking for light, but now you feel like you're living in the shadows. You joined because you wanted answers, a community, a way to become a better version of yourself. And for a while, you thought you found it. The people were so welcoming. The leader was magnetic, and the teachings just clicked. It felt like home. But then, a quiet little feeling started to creep in. A knot in your stomach. A strange disconnect between the heaven you were promised and the reality you were living. You can't quite put your finger on it, but it's there. You might even find yourself making excuses for things that feel off. You tell yourself it's just a part of the process, that your ego is fighting back, or that you just don't get it yet. What if that feeling isn't you failing? What if it's an alarm bell? What if that place you call your spiritual home is actually a psychological trap? This video is for you. We're going to flip on the lights and look into those shadows. We will break down the exact manipulation and control tactics that turn a spiritual group into a toxic, high control environment. This isn't about scaring you. It's about strengthening you. It's about giving you the tools to know the difference between real spiritual guidance and dangerous abuse so you can protect yourself.
An alleged cult leader will now spend the rest of his life in prison after a jury found him guilty Friday on all counts, including rape. Elijah Bishop, also known as Nature Boy, was on trial for rape, false imprisonment, and 3 counts of sharing sexually explicit content on social media. Prosecutors say the crimes happened while he was a leader of a cult called Carbonation. Bishop spoke to the courtroom right after his sentencing once victims read their impact statements.
Is there anything else?
My heart light as a feather. I promise you I love you and I'm still here. I ain't missed one living. I see what y'all doing and I want you to know I forgive you. And I see y'all in the end.
The DeKalb County judge issued the maximum sentence, sending Bishop to prison for life, plus 10 years without the possibility of parole.
The first and biggest red flag, the one that almost all other forms of control grow out of, is an authoritarian leader who builds a cult of personality. This isn't just a confident or charismatic teacher. This is a leader who is set up as being perfect, beyond question, and absolutely essential for your spiritual growth. In the beginning, this leader probably seemed incredible. They had this charm, this unnerving confidence that's so attractive when you're feeling lost. They seem to have all the answers. They might say they have a special pipeline to God, the universe, or some other divine source, that they are a special channel for truths no one else can access. This is the foundation of their power. They aren't just a teacher, they are the teacher. They aren't offering you a perspective, they are giving you the truth. And that's when guidance starts to feel more like control. A healthy teacher helps you find your own answers. An authoritarian leader demands you accept theirs. Blind obedience is sold as a virtue. Loyalty to the leader is the same as loyalty to God. And if you question anything, well, that's not seen as a healthy part of learning. It's a sign that you're the one with the problem. You'll be told your ego is too loud and your faith is weak, or you're being influenced by negative energy such as the devil. The problem is always you, never the leader. This messes with your head. You came to grow, so when they tell you your doubts are your own fault, you push them down and try to believe even harder. The leader becomes the one who can interpret text, spiritual experiences, and even things happening in your own life. Their interpretation is the only one that counts. This is a deliberate process to break down your ability to think for yourself. The goal is to make you totally dependent on them, not just for wisdom, but for the sense of reality. Any criticism of the leader is treated like an attack on the entire community, which makes them impossible to hold accountable.
Hey, I was reading 2 Timothy 3:4-6, and the thought that came to my mind are cult leaders. How do you know if you're in a dangerous cult? Now, you have many cults out there. The root of the word culture is cult. But how do you know if it's dangerous or not? Okay, watch this. 2 Timothy 3:4. Traitors, heady, high-minded. Heady and high-minded means they have an overinflated image of themselves, an overinflated ego. Lovers of pleasures more than lovers of God. Polygamy or polygyny, They desire to please their penis more than the one true God. They pass women around like Skittles. Now, if this is you, then you know you're in a cult. Let's read on. Having a form of godliness, but denying the power thereof. From such turn away. Meaning, they got the Bible, they know the scriptures, but they won't keep the law. Verse 6. For of this sort are they which creep into houses and lead captive silly women laden with sins, led away with divers lusts. That sums up polygyny or polygamy. I don't give a daggone. I don't care. So the center theme for all dangerous cults, polygamy is always the center theme. The leader has an overinflated image of himself. He's the great grand poobah, and all the women run around and flock around him, and he commits fornication with each and every one of them that he can. So if you're in a group like that, then know this, that you're in a dangerous cult. Because like Nature Boy said, he said, if I got, what did he say? If I got herpes, we all got herpes.
Once the leader's authority is set, the next step is to build a fortress around the group. Not a real one, but a psychological one. This is done by creating a powerful us versus them mindset and cutting members off from the outside world. It starts with making you feel special. The group is chosen, more evolved, or the only one with the real answers that the rest of the world is too blind to see. You'll hear things like, people on the outside just don't get it, or we're the ones who will save the world. At first, this feels amazing. It gives you a huge sense of belonging and purpose. You feel special, like you're the one in on a big secret. And nothing brings people together like a common enemy. But the dark side of being special is making everyone else out to be the bad guy. The outside world is painted as a corrupt, asleep, or even evil force. Former members, they're talked about like they are traitors who are now lost and miserable. This is a scare tactic. If you believe anyone who leaves become a failure, you'll be terrified to even think about it. This us versus them thinking is the excuse for the group's biggest weapon, isolation. Leaders will start to suggest you spend less time with friends and family who aren't supportive. They'll say their negative energy is holding you back. This separation is usually gradual, but it's designed to cut you off from your support systems, making you completely dependent on the group for everything. When the community is your whole world, leaving feels impossible. Information is also tightly controlled. You might be told not to read certain books, watch the news, or look at any media that contradicts what the group teaches. Critical thinking is shut down. This creates an echo chamber where the leader's voice is the only one you hear, and their reality becomes your reality. It's a powerful prison because you start to lock the doors yourself.
One of the characteristics of a cult is isolating members and also an us versus them mentality. And so as Jehovah's Witnesses, we're not to associate with people outside of the organization. Mm-hmm. And so that means like we go to school. There are a lot that homeschool, but we go, to public school. It's kind of viewed as our territory, like our preaching work as kids. I never preached to anybody. I was just trying to get by, in school and fit in. I mean, that's what you want to do as a kid. And so you already don't, because you can stand for the pledge. You can't put your hand over your heart. So you're already standing there, not saying anything, not putting your hand over your heart. You look different. You can't participate in holidays or anything. So when any kind of holiday, craft or anything would happen in school, I'd be sent to the library. And so you're isolated, but that feeds into that mentality of, like we're no part of the world. Mm-hmm. But it's also like if you're made fun of for it, it feeds into that, like we're being persecuted because we're the true religion. So it's like it all gets in your head.
In a healthy spiritual path, teachings are supposed to be freeing. But in a toxic group, they become tools of control, twisted to serve the leader's own agenda. One of the most common tactics is twisting sacred text or beliefs. A leader will cherry-pick quotes or concepts out of context to prove their own authority or demand obedience. A teaching about surrendering to a higher power suddenly becomes about surrendering your will to the leader. A lesson on non-attachment becomes a tool to pressure you into giving huge amounts of money to the group. It's sick because it uses the authority of something sacred to justify abuse. On top of that, these groups are almost always secretive. There's a total lack of transparency, especially about money, the leader's background, or how decisions are made. If you ask normal questions like, "Where does our money go?" you'll get a defensive or evasive answer. They might tell you asking questions shows a lack of faith. This secrecy is a massive red flag. Another layer of this is the use of thought-terminating cliches. These are little loaded phrases meant to shut down any real thought or discussion. They sound deep, but they're conversation enders. Think of the phrases like, "It's all part of the divine plan," or "Just let go of your ego," or "It's a test from the universe." They give you simple prepackaged answers that stops you from thinking any deeper about a real and valid question. In some groups, this goes even further. The leader might claim to have prophecies about the end of the world or some disaster that only the group will survive. This creates a ton of fear and urgency, making members cling even tighter to the leader who promises to save them. And when the prophecy doesn't come true, it's reinterpreted. The leader will say the group's devotion prevented the disaster, or that the prophecy was just a metaphor. It's a classic heads I win, tails you lose setup that only reinforces the leader's power. A huge part of being a healthy person is having personal boundaries, those invisible lines that protect your physical, emotional, and mental space. High-control spiritual groups work systematically to tear those boundaries down until you have none left. It often starts with something called love bombing. When you first join, you are drowned in attention and praise. Everyone tells you how special you are. It feels amazing, especially if you've been lonely. But this isn't real affection, it's a manipulation tactic. It's designed to lower your guard and make you trust the group quickly so you'll ignore the early red flags. Then the boundary crossing gets more direct. Your privacy disappears. You might be pressured to share your most private thoughts and fears with the leader of the group, often disguised as spiritual practice of being transparent. But this is a violation, and that confidential information can be used against you later to keep you in line. Your financial and personal life are also fair game. Leaders may start giving you advice on everything: who to date, what job to have, and especially how to spend your money. There's often huge pressure to donate large amounts of your income, sometimes to the point where it ruins you financially. This isn't framed as a donation, but a test of your faith. This dependency makes it even harder to leave. But maybe the most damaging boundary violation is the group's claim on your time. You're expected to spend almost all of your time in group activities, meetings, retreats, volunteering. This does two things. First, it leaves you no time for your old friends or hobbies, which reinforces your isolation. Second, being that exhausted breaks you down and breaks down your mental defenses, making you more likely to accept the indoctrination. Your life isn't yours anymore. It belongs to the group. A real spiritual path honors who you are. Any group that tries to dissolve your boundaries isn't freeing you, it's taking over. Healthy spirituality makes you feel peace, love, and self-worth. Toxic groups run on a completely different emotional fuel. Their main currencies are guilt, shame, and fear, and they are powerful tools to control you. Guilt is used to make you feel like you're always in the wrong or in debt to the group. They'll make you feel guilty for your life before you join, for having doubts, for not recruiting new people, or for not having enough time and money. The message is clear. You are broken, and the only way to fix yourself is through total devotion to the group. Shame is even worse. Guilt is feeling bad for what you did. Shame is feeling bad for who you are. These groups often have practices like forced public confessions. You might be pressured to share your deepest, darkest secret in front of everyone. This is incredibly humiliating, and it creates deep vulnerability. Once the group knows your biggest insecurities, they have a huge power over you. The fear of being publicly shamed again is enough to keep anyone from stepping out of line. And the fear is the engine that keeps the whole thing running. It's not just fear of hell, it's fear of the outside world, which they told you is evil. It's the fear of leaving because they told you your life would fall apart. And it's the fear of upsetting the leader, which can feel like you're upsetting God himself. This constant anxiety keeps you on edge, always trying to follow the rules and please the leader. This combination of guilt, shame, and fear destroys your self-esteem. It makes you believe that any problem you have, whether it's emotional, financial, or even health issues, is your own fault. It's because you aren't believing hard enough or serving the group enough. This self-blame is the perfect defense for the group because it keeps you from ever blaming them. In any healthy group, questions are a good thing. They show you're engaged. In a toxic spiritual group, questions are a threat. Doubts and critical thinking are systematically shut down. It starts subtly. If you bring up a concern, your motives are questioned. The problem gets turned back on you. You'll hear things like, that question is coming from your ego, or you just need to have more faith. This tactic is smart because it makes your valid concern into proof that you're the one who's flawed. If that doesn't shut you up, they'll often resort to gaslighting. Gaslighting is when someone messes with your head so much that you doubt your own reality and sanity. For example, if you point out that the leader contradicted themselves, they might deny they ever said it or tell you that you misunderstood the deeper meaning. Over time, this can make you feel like you're going crazy. You start to think, maybe I am the problem. This makes you even more dependent on the leader to tell you what's real. For people who don't back down, the punishment gets worse. They might be publicly shamed or humiliated, but the most powerful punishment is shunning. If you're seen as a threat, you can be completely ostracized with everyone forbidden to talk to you. When the group is your entire life, this is the psychological equivalent of a death sentence. And seeing it happen to one person is a powerful warning to everyone else. Stay in line or you're next. This creates a culture of fear. Members learn it is not safe to say what they really think. They start censoring themselves, silencing their own doubts. This is what experts call thought control, and it's the ultimate goal. The group doesn't have to silence you anymore because you've learned to silence yourself. That's the final stage of the prison, when the inmates become their own guards. A healthy spiritual path fits into your life and makes it better. A toxic group tries to become your life, sucking up your time, energy, and money until there's nothing left for anything else. This exploitation is usually disguised as devotion, but it's a huge red flag. The demand on your time is often insane. It's not just one meeting a week. There are workshops, retreats, recruitment events, and mandatory volunteer work. The schedule is packed on purpose. First, it keeps you exhausted, which makes you more suggestible. Sleep deprivation is a classic control tactic. Second, it isolates you. When all your free time is spent with the group, your other relationships just fade away. At the same time, there's an intense and growing demand for your money. It's rarely called a donation. It's framed as a way to prove your commitment, clear your karma, or invest in your enlightenment. There's a lot of pressure and shame involved. They might even make donation amounts public to shame people who don't give enough. A huge sign of trouble is a complete lack of financial transparency. If you ask where all the money goes, you get vague, dismissive answers. Often it's funding a lavish lifestyle for the leader while regular members are struggling. On top of direct donations, members are expected to provide free labor, which they call selfless service. In these groups, it's just exploitation. People are pressured to work long hours for free, doing everything from cleaning to marketing, all for the group's bottom line. This is a constant drain of your resources, your time, energy, and money. It's a trap. The more you put in, the harder it is to leave. Psychologists call this the sunk cost fallacy. You feel like you've already sacrificed so much that walking away would mean it was all for nothing. This is a powerful psychological trick that leaders know how to exploit to keep people trapped, even after they know something is deeply wrong.
In California, I believe, because we kept getting deported from Costa Rica, we got deported from Costa Rica, we got deported from Mexico, so we would end up back in the States. We were in Las Vegas at the time because we did get married. And he bought me a van because one of my biggest dreams in life was to always be a van lifer. And so he bought me a van to, use that against me. And he drove me in this van back to Mexico. And once we got to Mexico, he decided that we were going to go move to Puerto Rico. And I'm trying to escape the whole time. Like, I'm trying to plan my exodus. So we wind up in Puerto Rico. Fast forward, we wind up in Puerto Rico. And the physical abuse went up a notch. Like him strangling me out has turned into like holding my neck longer, like no oxygen, like like hitting me in my face, bust lips, bruise. I'm actually kept away from the tribe and from other people because my face is messed up. And he doesn't want other people to see that because he don't want them to think like he's bad or anything like that. So I'm kept away most of the time. So I'm like, okay. And I'm back in a situation where my documentation is gone. Physical abuse went up a notch. Now I gotta play a mastermind game. How do you play a mastermind game when you're not when you don't use things to your advantage to get what you want? So I'm like, okay, the best thing that I can do in this situation is allow everything to happen. Do all the sexual experience, actually encourage it. Encourage him being with other women. Encourage these women coming in. Encourage these women leaving out. Being in it, I had to sacrifice my own body to get me and my child out safely. So, long story short, I'm doing everything he want me to do. This man is doing and saying things I ain't never heard him say or do ever in the entire experience within a matter of 2 months. I was blown away. You know how much self-control I needed to have to be able to get my documents? So, long story short, when we traveled to Puerto Rico, we left the tribe. So he had to have my documentation in his presence. So I knew where it was. So every single moment, I'm tracking my documentation like, oh, it's right there. It's all right, cool. Y'all know you can hold it. I know, you got it. You know, making everything cool, kosher. You know, we in the house in Puerto Rico. I'm making plush pallets. I'm like, come on, Aya, come on, Malia, come on. Yeah, let's have a drink. Now he's encouraging smoking and drinking now at this point. So I'm like, one night he's like, let's smoke. I'm like, yes, let's do it. I'm getting everybody drunk. I'm rolling the blunts. Let's get high. I'm lighting them bitches, but I'm acting like I'm smoking. And I'm passing it to them. I'm like, y'all, yeah. I'm making the drinks. I'm popping them open. I'm like, y'all want another drink? Let's get it. Let's have fun. Got the music blasting. He is going crazy. He has a whole bottle of Hennessy. This nigga done damn near drunk the whole bottle of Hennessy. He on social media, on Instagram, going crazy. Like spit coming out his mouth. I'm like, yo, look at this man turn into a fucking demon in front of me. And all of the other women just as oblivious. And I'm like, every single moment that I got to sneak away, I'm packing my things. Let me take this shirt. Oh, he coming. All right, cool. Like, yeah, we having fun. Yeah. Go back in the back, sneak some more things. I'm actually creating a whole situation. He don't know that I already got my passports on lock stash, me and Ellie. Already got them, already done put them. I already done came up and scoped out everywhere. I'm actually got the women outside with me looking around. While they thinking I'm engaging, I'm looking around at my surroundings. Oh, I can escape right there. I can leave right there. Fast forward into the night, they all fall asleep. I'm like, man, they not even about to get up. Everybody about to be hungover. My body naturally gets up at like 6:37. So I get up, and you know how you hungover, and it is not really until about maybe 10 o'clock, 9:30, 10 o'clock in the morning when you in a hangover where you really start getting you really in a deep sleep and you start getting. So I go back to him like, right now it's not the time. 6:30, 7 o'clock a.m. It's not the time. Let him sleep a little more. Let it marinate. So I lay back down. My body get up again at a natural timing. I leave Ellie on the pallet. I get up. I get my bag. And as I'm walking, there's a spot that I did not calculate because I couldn't see. A whole opening, the gate, because he always puts us in gets houses where there's gates around us so that we can't get out. This whole side of the fence is smashed over. I put my bag on the other side of the fence, go upstairs, get Ellie off the pallet. I got my harness sitting on the stairs. I'm putting my harness on, walking. As I'm walking down the steps, putting my baby in the harness, harnessing her to my back, no shoes on my feet, one bag, couple snacks, maybe some crackers and some nuts with some water. Walking in the middle of nowhere, don't speak no Spanish. I'm gone. I'm like, fuck all y'all. I take the phone that he gave me, all that. Give me that. That's mine. I take a couple monies out his wallet and everything. I'm like, that's mine. You know? So I get to where I gotta go.
How far are you walking?
This was like, I wanna say about maybe 4 or 5 blocks. And then I find this opening where it's like this construction site. And I'm like, maybe I can get Wi-Fi right there. So I go try to get Wi-Fi. I'm literally like this with an infant. I'm like trying to get Wi-Fi, got Wi-Fi. Get in contact with a taxi company. I'm like, look, bro, I'm stranded. And now, how much is gonna be to the airport? We 2 hours away from the airport. It's gonna be $100. I'm like, look, I only got $40. He like, all right, I'm gonna just come pick you up. He came pick me up, got to the airport. I deliberately told Nature Boy where I was because I wanted him to know that you never gonna see me again, ever. So he come to the airport while I'm there trying to woo me, trying to talk to me. I'm letting him have, I'm telling him everything I wish I would have ever told him in my life. Standing there at the airport, I'm just...
No, he can't take you away.
He can't, because the police there and everything. I'm making sure that everything is cool to the point where he can't do nothing. So the police wound up telling him to leave because he getting irate because I'm letting him have it. He wound up leaving. He like really can't believe that I said no. Like he really can't wrap his mind around it because I always go back and I always fall for his bullshit. Get on that plane. That was the last time he saw me. And I moved forward with protection orders. I have a trail. I have a paper trail still to this day. Court hearings coming up in the next 2 weeks. Divorce, all of that to this day. This net man can never be around me ever again or the child that we gave birth to, period, ever.
If any of these red flags feel familiar, if that knot in your stomach is getting tighter as you listen to this, please hear me. You are not alone and you are not crazy. Your feelings are valid. Just recognizing these patterns is the first and most powerful step you can take. So many people have been through this, and sharing what you've gone through can be incredibly healing. If you feel safe enough, share a thought or a piece of your story in the comments. Your words could be exactly what someone else needs to read to feel seen. And if this was helpful, please subscribe and turn on notifications for more content about navigating spirituality in a safe and authentic way. Realizing your spiritual community might be harmful as it is shocking and painful, but it's also the start of your journey back to yourself. Leaving a high control group isn't a single step. It's a process. It takes courage, support, and a promise to find yourself and start trusting yourself again. Number 1, trust your instincts. This is the most important step. That feeling of unease, that doubt, that little voice telling you something is off, that's your intuition. The group taught you to ignore it, to call it fear or ego. Now you have to learn to treat it as your best friend. Your feelings are not a sign you failed. They're a sign your spirit is trying to save you. Isolation is the cage. The best thing you can do is break out of it. Reach out to family or old friends you were told to avoid. Reconnecting can be a lifeline and a much needed reality check. Look for a therapist, especially one who has experience with cults, high control groups, or religious trauma. Organizations like the International Cultic Studies Association and the Reclamation Collective can help you find professionals who get it. Knowledge is power. Seriously. Read books and articles about coercive control and manipulation. Listen to stories from other people who have left your group or loved ones. Understanding the psychological tricks that were used on you helps you take away the personal blame. It wasn't you. You weren't stupid or weak. You were targeted by a sophisticated system of control. This is the key to letting go of the shame. Depending on how controlling the group is, you might need to plan your exit carefully. If you live with the group, are financially tied to them, or are afraid how they'll react, you may need to leave quietly. Get your important documents, secure your money, and have a safe place to go before you tell anyone you're leaving. You don't owe anyone an explanation. Your safety is number 1. Leaving isn't the end. It's the beginning of your recovery. Expect a roller coaster of emotions: anger, relief, grief, confusion. You're not just losing a community, you're losing a belief system that gave your life meaning. That's a huge loss. It's a process of deprogramming. Be patient and kind to yourself. Healing takes time. The search for meaning is one of the most beautiful parts of being human. It's a journey towards connection and freedom. But real spirituality empowers you. It doesn't imprison you. It builds you up. It doesn't tear you down. It teaches you to find your own inner wisdom, not to give your power away to someone else. The tactics we've talked about today, the authoritarian leader, the isolation, the manipulation, the shame, the constant demands, these are not signs of a healthy spiritual path. They are tools of control. They are designed to make you dependent and keep you trapped. If you recognize your life in this video, let this be your wake-up call. This is the moment you stop blaming yourself and start questioning the system that's hurting you. Getting your mind, your power, and your spirit back is possible. The path out of the shadows might be hard, but it leads back to the most sacred place there is, your own inner truth. You weren't looking for light, and the light never left. It's been inside of you the whole time, just waiting for you to find it again. If this video helped you, please give it a like and think about sharing it. You never know who might need to hear this message today. Thank you for being a part of Restore today. If this episode resonated with you, please subscribe, share, and help spread awareness of the message of healing and awareness. Remember Isaiah 61:1 as we continue to restore hope and freedom in the lives of those who need it the most. Together, we can make a difference, one story, one life, and one step at a time. Until next time, may God's peace and restoration be with you.